So, welcome everybody at the session of Profiling the Leaders with our special guest, Syireen Rose. Welcome, Syireen. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Demi. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you here, actually, especially from Malaysia. You didn't have to come here.
No, I didn't have to come there. That's true.
So for the viewers, a little short explanation. Today we're going to have an interview with Miss Syireen Rose, and after that, Mr. Max, the director of Success Dynamic Alliance Indonesia, will discuss a personality profile report from an assessment that Charina made this week about her behavior and skills as a leader, according to an artificial intelligence program that already have 20 years experience. So Syireen, before we start, can you tell me, who are you? Your name, your age, your education, profession, private life, maybe even.
Who am I? Okay, so professionally, I run 2 outfits. I am the executive director for BNI Klang Valley South, where I oversee several business owners. Currently, we have 200 business owners under our care, and our task is to help them achieve access and then develop their leadership and networking skills so that they can grow their business to the next level. And with the current situation, it has been really fortunate. You can see things from both perspectives, not so great, not so and a lot of people complain a lot about MCO, but I think BNI has done a lot of work, and the platform has actually reached across the globe, and a lot of our members are definitely benefiting from the programs and the ideas, strategy that BNI has put in place in terms of growing their business. So I run a region of BNI in BNI Malaysia. I look over the areas of Putrajaya, Sabajaya, Kajang, and Bangi, and really excited to hop into 2022, and we have amazing plans ahead of us. So I'm really looking forward for the year to come. Yeah.
So you say 200 members that you coach and that you lead?
Yeah, it has 200 members that we coach as a team. My husband and I manage the group, and so our task or our role is to develop more leaders, because business owners like to do business with other leaders. So leadership is definitely the name of the game at BNI, as much as also we talk about networking, creating access, opportunities, not just locally or regionally. We're talking about taking our business owners across the globe. So that's something that I really appreciate about BNI. I've been in BNI for over 9 years now, and I started off as a member myself, and developed my organizational skills, leadership skills, presentation skills, a lot of things that I've really developed and appreciated at BNI for the training that has been given me so far today. And I'm really looking forward to more things. It's always lots and lots of innovation at BNI. The other outfit that I also run is personally close to my heart. It's my pet project. It's called Peaches Pen. I'm a writer by profession, and I'm known as a wordsmith and the word coach. I do a lot of work with folks who want to self-express. They want to learn how to be more fluent in their conversation, be more responsible with their chosen words. So a little bit still, there's a bit of leadership as well, because you want to be really careful with the choice of words. Now, especially, I'm sitting here from Malaysia, but I'm on an Indonesian platform. So not too sure about the culture. So I'm really careful about the choice of words and the conversations that I have with you, so that there's harmony in terms of delivering the conversation we're going to have today. I'm really excited to be here today because we're talking about profiling the leaders. I am so keen to figure out who I am as well, from the artificial intelligence that you're talking about. So I took a test, and I looked through the feedback, and I'm quite comfortable. I think a lot of these things were on point. Certain things I think I have grown to develop and manage. Still looking forward to Max conversation with me later, and figuring a bit more about myself is always key to growth.
Yeah, that's most important for leaders, right? We always
Yeah.
learn from our staff and our surroundings. And you also, I saw something about Peaches and Pen. What's that?
Peaches and Pen is my pet project. It's another company that I run. It's focused on editorial work and also self-expression. So there, I'm known as a wordsmith, where I create all the content for my clients. And I also am known as a word coach, where I help people rediscover themselves, a little bit like profiling, and also encouraging them or opening ways or making them see different ways to self-express. So two parts to the business. One is editorial and one is coaching, but both areas focuses a lot on the power of words.
Okay, and then everywhere where I see your name, I also see wordsmith. What's that?
The wordsmith. Yeah. This is something that my colleagues or my peers, people in my community kind of awarded me with the title of a wordsmith. I don't know if it's a title or word or they just call me the wordsmith. Mostly because of the way I write and the way I speak, the words that I choose to express or support people around me to communicate with their audience. So it's just the way that I use words. And they felt that most of the time when I interview them or I write for them, I'm quite spot on, or expressing them in ways that they never thought that they could, and reaching to their audiences in the best way that they can. Something like branding and positioning, but really using the right words at the right time with the right audience.
Okay. And then I also read a lot about women empowerment. Can you tell me a little bit about that one?
Well, you've been doing your research. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. Something very close to my heart as well. I've been in the women empowerment movement for the past 20 years, I feel, since college. What we do is we look at areas or gaps where we feel that women can do better, or where women are underrepresented or underserved, and we create programs and we lobby to our government, our ministries, our agencies to create more opportunities for women. So currently, more of my work look into, of course, the economic element of it because of my role in BNI. But at times as well, economy is something that the women need, but more so, a lot of them need to begin with their mindset and their heart set, because the society or the community that they function in may not be as supportive. So we do create programs to move them or shift them from one space to another space in terms of providing them more opportunities by developing themselves first. I think a lot of people talk about money or awareness, opportunities and success, but a lot more women in certain areas may not be ready or may not be apt with the right resources or skill sets to undertake such challenges. So we begin at the basic. If you look at the Maslow's hierarchy, right, the right at the bottom are the basic. Sometimes women are not even able to achieve the basic to provide for themselves, and then we're expecting them to achieve certain levels of success, which is not justified nor fair for them. So the program begins at the foundation level. This is for the basic lah. But for certain women who have arrived, they may have other challenges like maybe esteem or conversation. They may be not able to self-express, and they become hardened by the society. So there's a lot of work that we want to do where we want to empower women to be in the best positions and to achieve their greatest potential and to be who they were created or designed to be, and not be what the society expects them to be. So I think that's key to women empowerment, to really, really allow them to be free to do, say, perform, be who they're most deserving, as opposed to being told to be, or be boxed into a certain criteria or a certain agenda just because the society expects them to be in a certain way.
Okay, thank you for your answer. And I totally agree on that one, because that's exactly the question that you asked before we were online. What are skills to max? That's what we do. That's what I do. I teach people to be who you want to be and not who you're made to be, because we are a part genotype and we are part phenotype, shaped by our environment. And phenotype also is because of our parents demand this, or our teacher or our partner. And then we do sometimes things we don't want to do. And that's not only for women in my case, but for everyone. So sometimes you need to listen to your own heart. Of course, passion is a conceptual word that's actually delusional, but it also drives us to achieve goals that we normally would not achieve. So it's very important to be passionate about something, because without passion, you're just sitting still, not growing most of the times.
And I like the fact that you talk about listening to your heart, because if I can't remember the actual proverb, but the American Indians had a proverb, and they said that the journey from the head to the heart for most people, for the most human beings, is the furthest journey ever. It's really hard for people to actually listen to their heart.
You also prevent that you are wearing different kind of mask. You know, when you go to the office, then you're this person, and when you go with your friends, you're another person, and then when you go home, you're also another person. And it's the art to be yourself always in all those kind of situations without any mask. And that's very difficult for people, because if you are the director at the company and you forgot to put off your mask at home, you run into a conflict before you know it. And so that's very important to learn yourself and how to be yourself in everything you do the same way, if we talk about soft skills, right? But thank you for your answer, really, thank you. So let's go to a little bit more what we talk about today. So if we talk about behavior, can you describe yourself in general, your personality, who you think you are?
I would like to say that I'm quiet. I'm quite if I left to my own my own realm, I'll be very, very quiet. I enjoy my own company. I like my books, I like my games, I like my coffee. I enjoy my own company. I like being in a quiet space. So that's a little bit maybe conflicting with the DIC chart that I just saw, stating that my I is quite high. So that's interesting. I'm gonna like ask Max a lot of questions on that one. So yeah, I'm quite quiet. I'm quite reserved. I'm quite private. However, when I get into a space where I need to lead, especially in a BNI context where I talk to 200 people at one shot, and sometimes when I go to events, I'm on the stage, I'm talking to about 700 to 1,000 people at one shot. I do have to pick up on in terms of my energy and my essence, and I become a performer. I perform and I deliver my content, and that takes quite a bit of energy out of me. So I do get tired when I have to talk a lot. But I also have realized in the years that I've been in BNI that it's important to share. One of my peer, let me just backtrack a little bit. One of the things that I always do is I do a lot of speaking engagements. I do a lot of speaking, sharing. I get interviewed or I moderate. And I used to get really, really nervous. As I mentioned to you, Jamie, I whenever I get on stage, I get very nervous. I don't know whether I'm going to add value to the people in the room. You know, there's 13 people in the room right now, and I'm nervous that I'm not adding value to your life. And you'd be saying, what did I do the past hour with Syireen? That's all rubbish. So I really want to add value to people when I come to an event or a session. And I get very nervous. And then I had a very good advice from a peer, and he said to me, you may think that what you know is common knowledge, or it's not so great, but to people who come to the room seeking for your knowledge may find every drop of nugget that you give is a vast value, a vast ocean, or the deepest levels of the ocean, because they don't have that knowledge. So with that feedback that I got from a friend, from a colleague here, I show up and I share. And amazingly, from because of that feedback and that little push to perform, I find that I'm more willing to show up and mingle and be in a community or talk to more people, as opposed to, I would think, what I originally am, a hermit. I like to resolve or hide away in my cave somewhere. That would be who I really am, I feel. And so MCO was really great. I love the fact that we stayed at home. I did very well at home. I did not complain. I enjoyed staying at home the entire 12 months we were stuck at home. But yeah, when I show up in my leadership cap, I hold the room about 7 to 1,000 people, and I'm okay with it.
Okay, thank you for your answer. I think you know that you were being nervous when you have to perform, has something to do with your also high D, but Max will explain it later. So
yes, I am.
Imagine that you are under severe pressure, because you already answered my other question about what changes on when you're on the working floor. So you explained how you behave for yourself and what changes when you go working. So imagine that you are under severe pressure, like for example, you have to perform now, otherwise your company is in danger. The future of your company is in danger. How would you handle that, and what would change in your behavior then? Do you know yourself in that way?
Well, I've received. I don't really know myself very well, but I have been asking a lot of people for feedback. I see some of my peers here. You know, I want to say a big shout out to Ellie, Sri, and Fatima Wati. Thank you so much for joining us today. I see also Wanadli. So I'm really appreciative for you guys for being here today. I feel very supported and loved. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, and they, my leaders in BNI, have come back to me, and some of them have given me a name, and I like this name. They call me the Mother of Dragons.
Mother of Dragons.
The Mother of Dragons. So
like
so one of the things that I did, I remembered and how I responded to certain pressures when I had to perform. I set goals. I'm very focused on getting things done. So I figure out a couple of strategies and goals, and I go towards it. And as you rightfully said, I am highly dominant, so I am a high D. I like to get things done. But I also know that certain battles needs to be let go, because you can't win every battle. So I choose my battles. What doesn't work, I will let go. What needs corrections, I get support. I've learned to leverage. I look for people who are better than me in certain areas, and I request for their support in terms of getting things done in areas that I'm not very good at. So I'm never much in a rush, but I do keep a deadline. I have learned in my role as a leader, I do give other leaders opportunities to get things done. I'll give them a timeline. I give them 6 months, 1 year to do whatever that they need to do. And when they don't achieve it, I will tell them they didn't achieve.
What if now you get a message from one of your staff members, and they will tell you, listen, we have to do this now, otherwise tomorrow the company is gone. What would change in you? Yeah,
Mother of Dragons. I will look at what needs to be done, and I will rally my resources as much as I don't do things alone. I'm clear that I can't do things alone. I do maybe find myself drive more people, or drive myself to achieve certain goals. And if things can be done by other people, I may step up and do it myself. But I've also learned to realize that I can't do things alone. As I mentioned, I will look at what needs to be done and I'll get things done. But I will let go of things that just won't work.
Okay, so we just talked about, you already answered this a little bit. You said when you are taking the lead, you get more energy, especially in public, even when it makes you nervous, right? So what motivates you more?
What motivates me is, of course, getting things done.
Getting things done.
Yeah. And I like it done the way that I have envisioned it. So that motivates me. I think more so today, because of my role, what makes me really, really happy or motivates me to do more is to see my fellow entrepreneurs succeed in their goals. I have seen some of my leaders here in the room, stepped up and developed themselves. It's exciting to see them move from one level to another level. Even if I only contributed like 1% to their shift, it's motivating to see them achieving their growth, their goals, and their success. That motivates me a lot. And when I see certain things that I do work for certain leaders, I replicate them. And we all know about profiling, GISC. So certain leaders behave differently. So I learn to watch different leaders in their capacity, in their mastery, and I pick on certain learnings that I've seen work for other leaders, and I replicate them and for other leaders with similar personalities. And that's fun for me to really support people to achieve their best potential. So that motivates me a lot. I think success stories would be what motivates me. Seeing other people getting where they need to go, and being part of this journey is very motivating.
Okay. And then of course the other question: what demotivates you?
What demotivates me is, I think, having to do a lot of things alone. Yeah, and having to do the same thing over and over and over again.
So no routine.
Yeah, no routines for me. But because of BNI, I've learned to adapt to that. I've learned to adapt to a lot of work that is routine, because routine does create discipline, and discipline does result in certain level of success. At the same time, I like to explore new things. So routine does demotivate me. So I find ways to make it fun. And doing things alone, I like doing things alone, but sometimes being alone does not get you access or new ideas. I need people to bounce ideas with. So if I'm doing things alone and I get stuck,
you need that energy from the people around you.
Yeah, every now and then. Yeah, every now and then. Yeah.
I'm also high, so I know what I'm talking about.
See, that's what I really want to talk about Max. Am I really a high eye?
We want to be liked, and we want to be social and rewarded. Anyway, what is your most strongest point in your character? Your most strongest.
Oh, my strongest character is what you see is what you get. What you see is what you get. I am exactly who I am, anywhere and everywhere. I'm blunt, I'm honest. I like to sleep well at night. So I don't keep anything to myself. So if I call a spade, and I'm okay with people doing the same thing. I'm not saying that I'm not going to be hurt or affected by it, but I appreciate it when people are honest with me. So I do the same thing to people. Not everybody is comfortable with it, but it works fine with me. I'd rather be honest than go in the bush and do circles. I don't. Yeah.
I can understand that. And then what is your weakness? What is your weakest point?
That would be the same thing. I'm blunt and I'm honest, and to a certain level, sometimes I can be I'm dripping with sarcasm as well. So I've learned to not drip too much. but sometimes I do catch myself being quite sarcastic. So I would have to pick on that a little bit, especially now that I do coaching on the power of words. So I'm also very careful when I go out and I choose my words wisely.
The worst combination would be being sarcastic and aggressive.
Yes.
To really break people, if you don't watch out. Okay, thank you for that answer. So, can you describe how you think you behave with other people, your interrelational behavior? So what do you do? Your behavior. What is your behavior when you are really surrounded with other people? What do you do?
I'm reserved.
Reserved.
Yeah.
Okay.
When
So
when I'm in a company of people I don't know, I'm reserved. I'm quiet. I'm chatty in a company that I'm familiar with. I'm more willing to talk with people that I know or I feel comfortable, maybe like-minded. I'm more willing to speak.
Is it more being shy, or is it more observing and speak when needed?
I'm actually quite shy. Yeah, I'm quite shy and I'm quite reserved. I think my leaders in this room will like, shy, really? Say, but yeah, I am shy. I'm quite shy and I'm very reserved, and I'd rather not speak and show up incorrect or wrong. I'd rather just sit and listen and only respond when required.
Okay. And then separate of who you are and separate what you just told about yourself, what do you think is the most important behavior of a leader, the most character? What should be the best leader's skills be? The most important
skills?
Yeah, the most important skill one. The most important
skill.
Even when you cannot do it yourself. Or maybe.
What would be a leadership skill that is really, really important in I would say listening skills. Listening skills is very important. Most leaders have an idea of how things should be done. We have our own vision, and I like the fact that the feedback says that I may have a tunnel vision, which happens when I'm very focused on my goal. I'm just going straight towards it. I'm not really looking at my peripheral, and that can be quite damaging to the harmony of a team or a group. But that is probably one of my shortcomings that I'm working on. And so I feel that it's very important for us to have a listen to the people around us, because.
Do you mean listening by hearing or listening by understanding?
Listen by understanding, just paying attention to them and how they're feeling, what they're experiencing, what they don't want to do, what they want to do. Is really listening to their voice so that they can perform at their best capacity. I've experienced in my life being expected to do things that I have no mastery in, being expected to do things that I can't do or don't want to do. And so I know how that felt. I don't want my leaders to be in the same space. Okay. So yeah, so listening skills is really, really important.
Okay, so when you are with your team, right? You told me that they call you the mother of dragons, so that sounds really destructive and dominant. What kind of behavior skills cause that when you manage your team from yourself?
I didn't get that question. What was that?
When you said the mother of dragons, right? So you want to take care of the people, probably that's how they feel, right? And dragons being someone strong is my imagination. So which behavior makes you that way? Do you know that? What drives you to become the mother of dragons?
Well, get things done. The team have seen me put a goal in front of me, and they've seen me achieve it. And they've seen how I manage the team to get it done. What I got from them, feedback that I got from them is, results matter. At the end of the day, people will look at results. At the same time, they go like, yeah, sometimes you do. They said that I do make them feel uncomfortable, but it is something that they need, because a lot of people fall into their own comfort zone. And when someone like me comes into their space and I kind of like push them a little bit, they tend to find their own potential or their own capacities. But at the onset of actually starting, it was not comfortable for them having me telling them that this needs to be done. So that was the feedback that I got. However, the outcome of the program that we put in place was successful. It benefited the entire team. So they see the value of it. But they coined me as the mother of dragons, and I'm okay with it. Actually, I like the mother of dragons. Have you seen the program? Have you seen the?
I seen it maybe an occasional time, but I actually skipped that part.
It's actually in the Games of Thrones, and the main actress is called the Mother of Dragons. So she was hardened by her role, but who she is as a person, she's a gentle soul. So I kind of resonated with that. No, I'm okay with it.
Okay, yeah, it's a strong one, really. Like Dr. Lovina says, that my favorite. So can you describe really short, how do you make your decisions? Your drives?
I can make decisions quite instantaneously, but most times I like to take a step back and look at what I have on the table. When I have the time, I do prefer to really evaluate and think about what's my next action. Talk to my partners and see if the decisions are the best thing. I do also talk to my leaders and get their perspective. But as you said just now, if it's an urgent matter and my company is about to go up on fires, I'm quite quick in my decision making.
So in other words, the one way you say I'm pretty reserved, so I want to discuss certain things, personal information, and on the other side you say I'm very impulsive when I think it's urgent.
Yeah.
So which one leads?
Impulsive.
Impulsive. Okay. So you're really impulsive in making a decision.
Because I want things done.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. It's just a perception that we have as a leader, right? So I saw that Dr. Lovina, is it one of the team members?
Yes, Dr. Lovina is one of my team members.
Dr. Lovina, can you unmute yourself? I asked also to you.
Dr. Lovina, I hope she's not in her clinic right now.
Oh, just a microphone.
Hi.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for being here. Hey, I have a question for you, yeah? How do you describe Syireen as a leader?
Choose your words wisely.
Choose your words wisely.
Okay. Actually, I in the middle of waiting my student for today I got lecture. I'm not in the clinic. After this, I'll be in my clinic, Syireen. Okay. Ada lecture hari ni dekat Academy Estetik Damansara. Okay. Awesome. So I see actually how I describe Syireen.
Yeah.
I think about what leadership, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, how do you see her as a leader?
First, I think as a leader, she's very good in words, and I think her listening skills. She knows how to listen to you, and then she rephrase it back, and she will highlight what actually what's the problem with you, or what is your strength, or what. Because I know her from the networking group. And I think what I learned from her is listening skill. I'm a chatty person. I'm listening when I'm in the clinic, listen to my patient. But when I'm outside, I'm quite chatty. I just talk. But listening skill, yes. With the listening skill, you can highlight problems or anything that you can help with someone. So I think she helps me a lot when she listens. I think that.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
That was exactly what I wanted to hear. Thank you for your answer.
Wow, thank you.
Belanja,
This actually, I wanted to ask Syireen this
Masalati,
question,
masalati.
I thought Syireen wanted to ask this to Syireen actually, but I thought with the team membership better I asked directly to someone who's actually have experience with Syireen leading them. So thank you, Milowina. I will remove you again, and success with class later with the clinic.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's more direct, right? So Syireen, we are at the end of this session by now. So what is your first impression of this show halfway?
Oh, it's fun. It's been fun. Really revisiting myself. Thank you for the questions. I think the questions allowed me to like just reflect on myself a lot and how I've been showing up in the past few months, as opposed to how I showed up in at the beginning of my journey as a leader. So people who knew me maybe 8 to 10 years ago may not have the same perspective as Dr. Lovina had a minute ago. It's been a learning curve for myself. Again, I'm gonna say thank you to BNI for that. The platform allowed me to really self-express, self-explore, make the corrections, pivot, and be who I am today. I'm not saying that I've arrived. I'm saying that I hope that I have become a better version of me. Just let me share with you, Demi. I met a college friend. I've lost touch with him for years, about 20 years. And when he met me, he said, "I have always known you as someone who jumps to support other people, always wanted to support other people, even when nobody wants it." So I used to give a lot of unsolicited advice. So he said that it made people uncomfortable then, but I guess that's been my personality. And I'm very grateful for the skill sets that I have been able to hone on the platform that seriously looks into the development of leaders.
Well, your story is quite challenging. I mean, one way you are leading around 200 companies or people within BNI. Then you also try to help people expressing themselves on paper, and you also support womenpreneurship, and that takes a lot of energy, and you have to have a lot of energy. So talking about the mother of dragons, I'm a dragon on Chinese zodiac also, and what they say about dragons that they have unlimited energy, right? We always find new energy, and we cannot be exhausted. So that word really suits you. So from now on, I'm not going to call you Syireen anymore. I'm going to call you Mother of Dragons. It will be a new nickname.
That works.
Because you deserve it. And thank you for your story. For me, this was a session of listening and understanding. That's what I try to bring to the audience. Who is Syireen, and what drives her, what motivates her, what is her image about leadership. So I thank you very much about that. And Mr. Max, are you ready by now? He was putting on.
It can be. Yeah, I can be. I have to join by mobile though. I'm having internet problems, the same as you today, I think.
Oh, take my I want to say take my phone because wait.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll just join in. Here I am. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
So, Matt, I'm going to introduce you to Syireen. You have already listened, and I'm going to jump out, and I leave it up to you for the coming 20 to 30 minutes. And after that, I will jump in again.
Okay.
Thank you for taking over. So, Syireen, this is Mr. Max, the Director of Success Dynamic Alliance Indonesia.
Wow.
And you were waiting for this moment, right?
Yes. Yes.
Have fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so I've been listening intently. You have a lot of questions, so perhaps that's where we should start.
Oh, yeah, okay. I've done my DISC before. I've done a couple of DISC actually. My curve has always been when I started, I think 4 or 5 years ago, understanding myself through DISC. My curve was the inverted hook, so the I was at the lowest.
Wow.
yeah, so
Interesting.
this is fun to know that
Yeah.
it's gone up. I knew a couple of years back when I did my DIC, my eye did go up, but it was still kind of like an inverted hook still. But now it's literally the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, my D is still very high, but my I has gone up quite high, and my compliance has gone pretty low. Yeah, so that's interesting for me to.
Would indicate you being more comfortable in your position, perhaps.
Perhaps, and I've also, I do agree certain things that I read about me not really liking doing things in detail. I prefer the bigger picture. I agree to that. I'm just curious to know. I don't see a lot of people's DIC changing drastically like that in just 5 years. So I'm curious to know. I know that the environment does affect us, does change our outlook and personality. But yeah, good to know that his behaviors can change.
For an almost complete inversion, it's very interesting that the last 2 years have been far from normal times. So I think it's changed a lot of people's personalities, because we've all been put in a situation where we've had to become more in many respects.
Maybe I don't know what I did in the past 2 years. I felt that I've pretty much been the same person. I function a lot of my house, which is great for me. I love being at home. As I mentioned earlier, I like my cave. I like being a hermit. I don't really have a need to meet a lot of people, so I'm a bit confused about that because having a high I. I enjoy company, but I rather not be in a huge group. I prefer my groups to be smaller. I feel that a lot of people drains me.
I know the feeling.
So I'm okay talking to like 3-5 people, but if there's 10 people, it's tiring. Yeah, and I think some of my friends have seen me like literally step out of a crowd and just take a breather outside so that my energy comes back. So yeah, I'm interested to know how that has how I've been profiled as a high I, and yeah, that's probably one of the things that's really intrigued me.
Well, with I don't know what the situation's been like in Malaysia, but you've probably been work from home for an extended period of time, which perhaps means that you've had to allow your personality to shine a little bit more, and become more talkative or more communicative than you would naturally be, in order to continue to get things done. Would that sound roughly accurate?
With whom? Usually, like we all know that everything is very contextual. So in terms of, I talk a lot because I lead a lot of people. And sometimes I give training, sometimes I give coaching, sometimes I'm aligning, I'm doing a lot of meetings. So in that sense, there is a need for me to talk, and deliver and communicate what needs to be communicated. It does drain me. So like yesterday, I was talking, I was on Zoom for like the entire day. By 5 o'clock, I was completely drained. And my entire brain was completely numb. There's no way I was able to think after that. So yeah, so I'm not sure how I from my understanding of being a high I, is that you get a lot of energy from people. Yeah, and that's not me. I get tired when I meet a lot of people, so I'm a bit confused. That's basically what's my when I read my profile, I thought, oh, that's interesting. I'm a high I now.
It's difficult for me to comment on your past charts that I haven't seen, but perhaps we can revisit this 6 months from now and see if things have changed again.
Oh yeah.
It is surprising how things can change. I can talk about my own personal charts and how mine changed in the initial 6 months being locked down with COVID, and I have always always had a very high D, and my D had actually dropped below the median axis, and that through my behaviour had to change at work, where I was having to be more political than I typically would be.
Yeah.
My I had increased and my D had dropped.
Oh, all right.
But,
That's
yeah,
interesting to know.
yeah, but to find that yours has almost inverted is very interesting.
Yep, it is. It is. And one of the things that really threw me off was earlier, maybe a few months back, someone just came up to me and said, what is it like to be an empath? And that question came to me. What does it mean to be an empath? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not an empath. And she goes, but you are. She said, you're very, very empathetic. You're very you're able to really feel and absorb other people's energy and respond to it. And I didn't know how to respond to that. And even with Dr. Lovina saying how much I am a good listener and being able to, these are really new for me. These are really new for me. I think it's a skill set that I've learned. I'm not sure how natural it is for myself. But as a leader, it was something that I've learned. I've learned that for me to really respond accordingly, for me to really give the best value to my leaders. BNI is actually leading other leaders. The entire 1,200 people in my region are all CEOs. They are all leaders in their own right. So leaders don't take instructions. So I feel that's a skill set that I've honed because I'm leading 200 other leaders. And on top of them, I'm part of a team that lead another 700 leaders. And the entire Malaysia is like 4,900 leaders. So how do you show up in a pool of leaders? It's a reflection of your behavior, yeah? So if you want to be seen as a leader and you want to be seen as an influencer, being able to say something authentically true to your being, there was a need for me to hone that skill.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how natural that is to me, but it's something that I think I have picked up in the past few years.
Yeah, well, it's learned behavior can take over to a certain extent. I mean, I could have guessed you were a writer without having had the prior knowledge because of how you speak. You choose your words very carefully, and typically that comes from being good at writing to begin with. You're very specific with each individual word that you use, and that is indicative of being a very strong communicator. But again, that can be learned behavior. If I was put on a stage where I was having to speak to a high percentage of the business leaders in the entire country I was in, I would have to up my game as well. And they always say the best way to learn is to teach, correct?
True, I agree.
Yeah. So again, I'd love to revisit this in 6 months. I'd also love to let's run you through one of our EQIs and let's measure your empathy, perhaps.
Perhaps that'd be great. Yeah. Oh, I had something on my head right now. It left me. That's okay. We'll continue with that. Oh yes. Yeah. You mentioned that the word that you used was a great communicator or a good communicator. I also feel that in the reflection of the fact that I can choose words in communication. Sometimes it doesn't really arrive to my audience because of the choice of words. The choice of words may completely fly by or go over their heads because those words does not exist in their vocabulary.
Yeah.
So what I've learned, I think it was from a TED talk. I think I can't remember exactly when I got this, but it says that how you're viewed or how you're heard may be absent in a person because this person has never actually experienced it or understood those words in the way that I'm using it.
Yes.
So in that absence, then the communication does not get through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I feel that in certain levels, if you look into my, I don't know, in my profiling, I'm not sure how you're reading it right now. One of the things that one of my peers gave feedback to me was, Syireen, you speak here, everybody else is here. You need to figure out how to go here and communicate with them. And I'm completely unable to do that. I feel that I feel that I have not been successful in going to a level. I hate doing this down and up thing because it makes people feel that they're lesser or better. It's just that there's levels of communication, and there's certain levels that I just don't think I'm able to communicate. And in one of the report, the word I really feel this because it says I can come off as arrogant, and I felt that is true, and I want to work on that. I don't feel arrogant. I feel confident. But I think in the absence of confidence, people see that as arrogance.
People perceive arrogance, yes,
yeah.
Correct. People who aren't used to being confident,
right,
perceive it as arrogance.
Yeah. So so I'm curious to know, how do I show up and not like make people feel lesser than who they are, because the intention is for them to get value from my experiences and from what I have to share, and not turn them off because they're getting arrogance from me.
Well, I having listened to you speak for about an hour now, I've got to say that I personally value your authenticity. And if your speech level is typically up there, whereas other people may be down there, perhaps that's because most of the time you're speaking to business leaders, etc., who have almost an entirely different vocabulary to the average person on the street. So if I felt that I was in a situation where I needed to rise up, then I would say that would be on me to improve my game, not for you to have to lower your tone or lower your values to try and match mine, if you understand. So I find it interesting that you're so self-conscious about it, because that certainly isn't indicative of arrogance, for sure.
This question comes because Demi was brought up the fact that I do a lot of work with women, and part of my work as an NGO is to work with B40 or women belonging to the lower strata of economy. And I would go to my team and I go like, I'll strategize with you, I'll work with you, but I will not communicate with them. I will not participate or be in their company because they will not get value from me. And people find that arrogant, but I felt that I was being just, I was being fair, because there's no way they will get value from me because I can't communicate with them. But I can create programs, or I can provide whatever insight that could support women in that category. But it's not a category of people that I can be in a company with, and both of us or both parties will be comfortable. So
I hear what you're saying. Actually, one of the things I specialize in besides psychometrics is neurolinguistics. So I also can be very particular about the words I use. And actually, as part of my training to be a neurolinguistic practitioner was to be able to actually very closely monitor people's speech patterns and learn how to adapt my speech patterns to match theirs in order to create more powerful empathy and I think that might be an interesting subject perhaps for you to look into. Have you read much on NLP before?
NLP, I went through a session before. I got a certification on it a few years back. I have not revisited it. I appreciate studying speech patterns. I have not really went really deep into it. I do make the effort to emulate the people in front of me and choose their words when I speak. But I am, as you and I are well aware of, high D people get very impatient. So when they keep repeating themselves, I go like, and I just complete the conversation and move on. Yeah, so I make the effort, but I am in certain ways impatient to wait for someone to arrive.
Okay, so just coming back to your previous chart that you mentioned, you said your S and your C have dropped off with us as well.
How's that? Sorry?
When you mentioned before, your previous chart was more of an inverted hook.
Yes. Yes.
So your S and your C. When was the last time you were profiled?
Good question. I think about 2-3 years ago. And the rest were just done on my own. I did the free stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get much value for money in free things.
Yeah, yeah. There's all this. Oh, I'm so curious to know how's my growth been. And Tony Robbins had some stuff on online, and I took the free one and I looked at it like, I don't know about this. And also because I'm familiar, I think in a way as well, because I've been taking a lot of profiling tests. I'm familiar with the questions.
Okay.
And I think that as well influences or flips the results more towards what I know is the best answer from what I believe I am.
Well, that typically would show up in your central chart. That would be you trying to put across a specific impression, which that normally shows up as a difference between your basic or natural behavior and your potential work behavior. So your mindset can alter how things are, but your charts are fairly consistent across the board, but they're all moving towards the compression zone, which does. It does indicate, like you're saying, that perhaps you're being a little too conscious when you're taking the test.
What's the compression zone?
Compression zone. So have you got your chart in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
I do, but I have to move the screen around.
Okay. But if you look at the three charts, there's the central zones on the charts.
Let me go up. Okay. Got it?
Sure. So you see that all three of your charts all roughly squeezed into the center.
Squeezed into the center. Okay.
You know what might be easier, because the other people can't see your charts. Is perhaps we'll discuss your chart in depth afterwards.
Sure.
But
that'd be great.
the compression zone is just where in the center of your behavioral charts, everything is just pushed towards the middle. And I could go into that and what that means more in depth later. Yeah. Once you understand how to read these, you can just look at these charts and understand so much about people in a very short space of time. It's interesting, but I'll run you through a crash course, perhaps if you're available later in the week.
Yeah, we could talk about that.
Or after the meet today.
Ken, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah. Was there anything else you saw in the charts or in the PPR that you'd like to discuss?
Yeah, this one. Hang on. Let me just go through this. This one. Factors that affects my self-esteem. It says Syireen's self-esteem is based upon winning. Yeah, this is kind of cute because I was like, winning, and because I've been in a lot of competitions or space where I need to compete with other people, and I really couldn't be bothered who was winning. And my husband would be in the same space. It struck me because we went for this what you call it, treasure hunt. And we were competing because we won 2 years in a row. That's my team. So the third year, my team was going crazy, making sure that everything has to be on point and everything. And I was just driving. I was a driver, and I really couldn't be bothered about whatever. And I go like, what are we looking for? Am I supposed to turn right? Whatever. And then during the night when they were announcing the winners, I was completely disengaged. I was just minding my own business, having conversations, and somebody looked at me and goes, "You really don't care about winning." And I said, "No, who cares? It's just we're here to bond, and so I really don't care." And then when I think about other aspects of me when I do things, maybe it's training, maybe it's exposure. I do not know whether it's really me as a person, but I have learned to just like, this is my benchmark for myself. And everybody has their own challenges, and everybody has their own ways of doing things, but this is where I want to be, and this is where I'm going to go. So I really don't care where everybody else is. And
you're talking about self-challenge versus team challenge,
right?
Almost
so,
ipsative versus normative.
Right. So
your measurement of your behavior.
Right. So here it says that Syireen's self-esteem is based upon winning, and I go like, what's the context? Am I in a competition, or is it in my race towards wealth creation? Or I don't know, because it says that my self-esteem would dramatically be affected if I feel that I'm losing face. Maybe, but I don't know about the word winning. Is it about winning, or is it just about me and my values? When I feel my values challenged or my principles challenged, yes, I get a bit defensive. And during that time, I think my intelligence, my IQ goes a bit down. It goes because I don't take the time to listen to other people's rationale about it. I'm just concerned about my values and my principles, and I don't like it being, I don't like my boat rocked so much. So yeah, but that was the conversation in that report that really, do I really care about winning, or is it more about my stand? Yeah.
So the very interesting thing, just the way you're questioning that one specific point here versus your charts, it's actually very indicative of a high C behavior. Is taking that one word and basing like not your entire opinion, but just focusing so much on just that one word and wondering about the context of it. So I look at these things as well, from a neurolinguistics perspective. And when I was first introduced to psychometrics, I felt a little bit like they were almost written like star signs, where you can go, well, I'm a Pisces, and it says that I'm going to have a good day today, but something might go wrong. It's like, well, that could be anyone, right? So I actually had that feeling that that's how psychometric reports were at the beginning. It'd be easy for me to say, well, who doesn't like winning, right? We all like winning. The smile on your face when you said that you'd won the 2 years previous indicates that you probably enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But
it was fun to win.
Exactly.
Don't care if I do it again.
But tying your self-esteem to that would be a strange thing indeed. And I'd like how you've kind of taken that and contextualized it as, winning by, achieving success by your own standard rather than anybody else's. And I think that's really interesting and very powerful of you to say that.
Yeah, so that's just my confusion there, because I mean, I don't know, maybe because I'm a wordsmith, so I look at words. So so that kind of not sit with me so much. I know, of course, I enjoy if I were to aim to make 1 million this year and I hit it, that's a win. And yeah, I'll be happy. Or I aim to achieve to move from maybe third sitting to the second sitting this year, and I achieve it. That's a win, but that's win by my standards. I decided that I wanted to make 1 million. I decided that I wanted to move from the third chair to the second chair. I decided to move from VP to president. I decided it was me, and achieving it is my win. So, but if I don't, but if I don't,
challenged by external circumstances,
right? But if I fall short, I don't think I will lose face, because it's my own, it's my own challenge to myself. I'll just go, okay, I didn't do a good job, and I'll probably go out and figure out what did work and ask people and get feedback. So that was just the one thing that didn't sit with me. I felt everything else was kind of spot on. It's just interesting to see how my I has gone up and how my C has gone down. But I can reflect. I can agree to the C being lesser now. I'm not really so concerned about charts anymore, or the detail. I'm not so detailed as I used to be. I'm more of a big picture person now. Yeah.
Well, it'd be very, very interesting to revisit this in 6 months. I don't know if Damie wants to put that in his schedule. I'm quite happy to, and see how things have changed.
Be good.
Yeah, so it's just interesting speaking to somebody, especially your role is a leader of leaders. So it's interesting to look at somebody who has leadership from that perspective.
Yeah,
the majority of people who profile as CEOs, etc.
Yes, so that was also something that I wanted. I thought was really interesting to be on this show, on this program, because I don't particularly have employees. I have a lot of vendors. I have a lot of associates. I have a lot of people that I hire for projects, but I don't have more than 3 employees. So so it's kind of cool to figure out a leadership where my entire learning curve has been about working with other leaders, working with other business owners, developing leadership skills in that aspect. So it's a bit different. So when people talk to me about what is it like to speak to your employees, they go like, the way I speak to you. I recognize my employee as a person who's potentially groomed to be my associate, groomed to be my future partner. Maybe maybe now he's employed, but maybe in 5 years he may be my peer, my colleague, my counterpart. Who knows? So I would view that as also a leadership skill, because you don't treat an employee like somebody who's beneath you or you subordinate, but somebody who's potentially going to be someone really remarkable in the next 5-10 years.
Yeah, that's something me and Damie were speaking about yesterday, actually, was the importance of authenticity in the workplace. One of the things we were talking about is my appearance for business. I don't dress up for anybody. I'm me. I show up. I am who I am. People kind of like that. What you're talking about with treating everybody almost as an equal, but from the sounds of things, how you naturally are, you also act to try and raise them and improve their standards. It sounds very much like enlightened self-interest to me, where you will put your energy and your time into somebody in the hopes that they will come and stand next to you, because in the end that benefits you too, right?
Yeah, I think that's very important, and I really appreciated that in the profiling. I didn't know this about myself, so that was new for me. It says that I'll move forward in my leadership or whatever career, but in the conversation in the profile says that Syireen takes everyone with her. And that's new for me. I didn't realize that, so that's a nice reflection, because now that I look back, based on the document, that does hold true. I just didn't realize I was doing it.
Yeah, but they say know thyself, right?
Yeah.
So as a leader of leaders as such, do you or your clients use psychometrics on a regular basis? Or it sounds like you're curious enough to dabble in the free tools you'll find online. But do you know if anyone's using psychometrics widely in Malaysia? Because when I finish with Indonesia and Singapore, I do plan to open there.
Well, we could have a conversation on that because I'm interested in it. We could talk. What I was introduced to psychometrics through a program that I went to. Is a program that I think a lot of our gurus were born out of. I think I went to the same program that Tony Robbins went to, Kiyosaki went to. It was the same program. My mentor with their mentors, with their colleagues. So I learned GIC from this team, from this program. And but I don't see it being widely used. I see it being used, but not as in-depth as the one that you have, and not as intimate as the one that you have. Yours is quite intimate to the person, as opposed to the one that I got received was quite generic, which means it was churned out. That
a lot of it comes down to data sets. Damie used the words artificial intelligence. It's not. It's it's data sets. Another correction would be that we have 20 years of business. Actually, it's going to be 40 next year. So we have a wealth of data. We've profiled a huge amount of people. In fact, even when we had our more recent case study done to prove the efficacy of our charts, etc., that was the Imperial College of London, and I believe there was 5,000 people quizzed for that study. So our data sets versus the data sets that you'll find available online, it's different. So why we're able to tailor more towards the individual rather than speaking in generic terms. And there's, I remember it was 2014 was the first time I was profiled by Success Dynamics. And I remember the feeling. I remember just sitting there and finding things out about myself that I didn't know at the time. And I was just becoming a leader in business back then. And I do believe that, knowing that I had those strengths that I perhaps didn't realize I had at the time helped me to move forward and succeed.
Yes, I think that's very valuable. And as I mentioned, I think your the feedback that I got was that I got from you was more rich. Yeah, so I was quite, like I said, I was so excited to meet you. And when Jamie said I was going to talk to the big boss, I was like, oh great. And because the feedback, as I mentioned, was really resonates, and it's not just overarching, and it's not generic. So I thought, interesting. So yeah, so thank you for that. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
really,
and
really
I look forward to maybe scheduling an hour where we can go through the entire thing in depth, and perhaps talk about the growth of my company into into different regions. Why not?
Love it. I love business talk. Awesome.
Yeah, well, that's that actually says in my profile on the website, because lots of people. I only took on SEA just over a year ago, A lot of people used to ask me always, what do you do? And I said, I can't really quantify what I do as anything other than I speak to people and money happens.
That is also cool.
I meet
very
people, I get to know people, and if somebody needs something, I will always know a guy. And that's usually how it works. So it's just I've floated around Asia creating opportunity for the last 17 years or so of my life.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, come over to Malaysia.
I'll be coming back to Malaysia. I used to live there.
Awesome, awesome. Well, welcome back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well,
All right. Thank you so much, Max.
Yeah, the world's just opening. I think I can see Damie preparing to jump back in.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I look forward to speaking to you at length soon.
Looking forward. Thank you so much, Max. It was a pleasure.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye.
You need to unmute, Damie.
Thank you for your feedback, Mr. Max. You heard me, right? Upstairs.
Yes. No problem.
Okay. So thank you for the feedback, and I hope you have a good conversation later on. I'm gonna ask Syireen some closing questions. Syireen,
Yes.
I already said it to Max a little bit. What is your experience this 1.5 hour? Oh.
Well, it's been good. It's good to know that the effort that I've put into myself, the investments that I put into myself in self-development and self-growth has actually resulted in what I'm seeing right now as a person. I've always thought myself as hardened by the society and uncoachable. And it's good to see that I have been willing to make my shifts and to support my growth in order to support other people's growth. So that works for me, especially in my line of career where I am supporting other leaders. So you need to walk the talk, you need to show up at 100%. So being able to see that I am able to make those shifts is quite enlightening. It makes me feel light.
Thank you. Good. The nasty stuff is not discussed yet, right? It will be coming in the next hour, I heard. So, no, we keep it integral because we have it online, right? So, yeah, for me, it was also educative because I like to see how other leaders think and evaluate. So, thank you for sharing and being so open-minded for this, because it's also not easy for someone to share your vision about yourself, right? Being open and honest. And you, because like Matt already said, you're really honest about yourself.
Actually, I really appreciate you inviting me over, Damie, because it gives me the opportunity to also be able to showcase myself to my leaders who are here today. I have currently I'm seeing quite a bit of my leaders in this room, so I'm happy that they are here because they're they're also in their journey to develop their leadership skills, and for them to also see that I am also on the same journey as they are. It's really good, and it is an opportunity for them to also see me and know me and get to know me as their leader, you know. So it's I really appreciate the platform and the time, Jamie. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, we are at the end of the session. Is there anyone else here in the room? I will try by allow people to unmute themselves. Is there anyone in the room still who have any questions or remarks for Syireen? Please feel free to put on your camera and your microphone. Ali, I see that you are here. Any comment?
Hi. Having listened to Syireen, I think I'm getting to know Syireen much better now. But thank you for the opportunity and sharing as well. So all the best.
Thank you. Sri, are you still here?
Syireen?
Saw you.
Who?
Sri Devi.
Oh, Sri Devi.
Yeah. If she's still here, because many people are also at work, of course. yeah, if nobody has something to bring in, and we're going to end this session, Charina.
All right,
And,
awesome.
I believe you have a follow-up with Mr. Max in an hour. I just heard.
Yeah, if you don't mind me just for me to just say my thanks. I'm really grateful for my leaders showing up today. I have Ali in the room. I have Sri in the room. I have Situ Rodia in the room. I have Anja in the room. And Agnes, thank you so much, everybody, for being here, being so supportive.
Okay. Thank you for being here. I'm going to finish the show. We're going to have some other sessions this coming week for other leaders from Indonesia. And it's really an honor to have you here, Syireen. Also, we met a year ago
Yes.
talking about BNI Indonesia. And,
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
so happy that BNI Malaysia is so much open-minded and also accessible. So it was an honor for me to have you here.
Thank you.
Let's talk on later.
Yes.
I want to thank everybody for being here. I'm going to end this session very fastly. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.